Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a specific topic. I'm not sure how many people are searching for it online, but it's a question or situation that I've come across in the past, so I wanted to make this video about it. And that is regarding real estate buyers going directly to the listing agent to purchase a property, which the alternative is working exclusively with one realtor, sometimes known as a buyer's agent. So in this video, we are going to have a conversation about some of the cons and disadvantages to purchasing directly from the listing agent, as well as really the one pro or advantage from doing so as well. And before we dive into it, if you're new here, what's up? My name's Andre. I'm a real estate agent here in Ontario, selling and servicing the North Simcoe regions of Barrie, Innisfil, Angus, and Muskoka. On this channel, we talk about buying, selling, investing tips, market news, and other real estate related content. So make sure to check out some of my other videos if you like this one. Also drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this video. The first disadvantage or con to purchasing directly from the listing agent really comes down to the fact that potentially or very likely there is a chance for a conflict of interest, whether that be in the form of client misrepresentation or in the more sensitive topic of multiple representation. You can do some more research online on multiple representation. It is a very sensitive topic when it comes down to how an agent handles a transaction fairly and honestly to both sides, whether it be the seller or the buyer. If there's ever a complaint between the sellers and the buyers on the agent or the transaction, and RICO finds out that this was a multiple representation situation and the rules were not strictly followed and something was crossed at one point in time, then that agent is in for a lot of trouble, probably a couple thousand fines, potentially even a suspension of the license. You really have to understand as a buyer that your biggest disadvantage is the fact that the listing agent, their fiduciary duties, responsibilities, and legal obligations lie with the seller. Their job and ultimate goal is to sell that property for the most amount of money possible in that given market, representing their client to the best of their interests. And when you as a buyer approach the listing agent, in the majority of cases, they will have you sign a customer service agreement, which is a limited veil of responsibilities, fiduciary duties, and legal obligations because the listing agent's ultimate interests lie with the seller. So you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage because you do not have an agent that is working for you in your best interest. I honestly think you can't do it, or it is extremely difficult to do unless you are dealing with a very seasoned or experienced buyer on the other side. It even comes down to the really little things. Say it's like $1,000 or even $500 more. If that buyer hints that they can pay any amount more and you take that to your seller, great, you're representing the interests of your seller, but you are taking advantage of that client. Vice versa, if you don't share that information, you are now not representing your seller to their best interest, because no matter what way you slice it, there was a chance for you to get a little more money for your seller and you did not do that, therefore not fulfilling your legal obligations. And if you're not a seasoned or experienced buyer, what if the listing agent knows that there is some type of damage in the attic, or there's something wrong, there's just something that's off that isn't perfect in the property, but since they're representing the best interests of their seller, they don't mention it on the home inspection, or the home inspector doesn't find it because they're only providing you customer service, and mentioning that would be detrimental to your seller. At the same time, they're fulfilling all the obligations they have towards you as a customer. Well, then there you go. You're now at a disadvantage from doing that. I think a really simple reference for this that totally knocks it out of the park comes down to this. Have you ever seen one lawyer represent both the defense and the offense in the court of law? I haven't. Let me know if you have in the comments down below. I actually don't think it's legal, but why should it be any different when it comes down to one of the most important purchases that you might make in your entire lifetime? Do you not want an agent, a professional that is representing the best of your interests, that is exclusively working with you and not working with anyone else or conflicting any type of interest, or even the potential to conflict any type of interest or responsibilities? And on a side note, as I've been the cooperating agent many times before, and this is especially important to first-time homebuyers and security, what happens after the deal is closed? Who do you call if you have any problems? I know with our clients, we keep in touch years after the property is closed. If there is any renovations, any contacts, any referrals, anything that comes up along the way throughout the entire process, that is what we are here for as buyers and cooperating agents. We're here to answer those questions and service those needs. But if you have customer service, who are you gonna call? The listing agent about a problem that happened on a property that you want fixed, or you want a referral to do so? They're probably not gonna bother with that. So you're gonna be really left on your own. And honestly, that might cost you thousands down the road. So if there's one disadvantage that supersedes them all, or there's one takeaway that you keep from this video, understand the fact that the listing agent represents the interests of the seller, not you. So when you decide to purchase directly from them, you are putting yourself at an ultimate disadvantage because you do not have a professional working for you. And again, go back to the example. Have you ever seen one lawyer work the same defense case and the offense case in one court of law? It just doesn't happen. Why? because there's very likely going to be a conflict of interest. The second con comes down to the fact that you are choosing to be limited for the amount of service that is being provided to you within your real estate transaction or your real estate experience. When you exclusively work with one realtor, they are by your side at all times, learning about what you want, what you don't want, showing you the property, see what works, see what doesn't work, to ultimately find the best place to live. And seeing as cooperating agents get paid by the seller to bring clients, and you do not have to pay a single dollar for an agent to be by your side 24/7, well, ideally 24/7, to help you find the place of your dreams, you're limiting the amount of service that you're getting for yourself by going directly to the listing agent, who's only going to provide you a snippet of what realtors do in their expanse of work. For example, one of the jobs of being a real estate agent is to be working when your client cannot be. So if you're working a 9 to 5, your real estate agent is looking at properties, maybe writing an offer or booking showings for you after you get off work. Now, say you want to go see 5 properties on the weekend. What are you gonna do? Call each listing agent directly and try to set it up and coordinate so all 5 will show you their listing at each given time? That's probably not gonna work out because you're relying on too many factors to do it. At the same time, if you call one listing agent and say, hey, I would like to see your property, but also see these other 5, then they're probably gonna say, are you willing to sign a contract? If not, sorry, can't help you. Or if they do show you those properties and then next weekend you wanna go see 5 more and you choose a different listing agent to do it, well, now you just lost out on some experience because potentially that first listing agent could have got a better feel and had another listing or another street that he had in mind that could have worked with you, but you now threw that away and you're going with another listing agent who's learning, starting completely from scratch on learning what you want and what they can provide for you. At the end of the day, the listing agent is again working on behalf of the sellers to sell their property for the most amount of money in that current market, while the buyer's agent, your agent, is actively working to find the best possible property to live in for the best value in that given market. The third con or misconception here really is the fact that you are not getting a better deal by going directly to the listing agent. Honestly, I think it's extremely rare for you to get a better deal as a buyer by going directly towards the listing agent, unless some rules are being broken. I've had this happen to me before on the listing end, where a prospective buyer calls me and says, I like your listing, it's within the price range that I'm looking for, I also don't have a realtor, so if I purchase through you, you get more commission. Now, in theory, that makes sense. Their offer is more favorable to me because instead of making a regular 2.5% of commission, maybe I make a full 5%. But on the other hand, you have to understand the fact that it is also in my best interest and in my client's best interest to get even more money from you, because at every incremental increase that I get from this prospective buyer, I am now making more, or an additional double than what I would have made if I was only using the listing end and making 2.5%. There might be an odd case where you have 2 exactly identical offers, the same price, no conditions, one has a realtor and one does not. Then yes, maybe I would be more inclined to work the one that does not have a realtor because I'm making more money and essentially my seller is getting the same product. However, all it takes is one phone call to Rico from that other listing agent to say, hey, there was this transaction and we lost, and I think that the listing agent didn't follow multiple representation or didn't follow correct guidelines. And that's it. Any dollar that I made extra on that additional commission, I'm probably gonna have to pay in legal fees to explain what happened and go through the entire transaction. So really, it doesn't play in my best interest to do that as well. And honestly, I really only found one pro or one advantage to this entire situation, where a real estate buyer goes to the listing agent and actually gets a better deal throughout the entire process, as opposed to just using a professional to represent them. It would be a case where the seller is motivated to sell. Maybe they have a deadline or they have a mortgage payment or something they have to pay off that's coming up. The property's on the market and a buyer comes in that is willing to take it for less money than what it listed for, or less money than what the seller was originally willing to take. But because they're going to be using the listing agent to purchase, that listing agent is willing to cut their commission for the seller to make the deal come together, then yes, in that rare case, that would work. But that is also assuming that you have flawlessly executed the 70 to 85% of everything that happens within a real estate transaction prior to getting accepted offer. You've done the research, you know the neighborhood, this property is perfect. Maybe if it's a unicorn, it's the first property that you've seen. If not, maybe it's the second, third, or fifth that you have seen, instead of like the 10 or 15 that it takes buyers on average to see before they make a decision. You get this property, you love it, you get customer service, you are familiar with doing home inspections, with financing, with closing, and all that stuff. And then yes, it might work, but I'd say for 98.756% of cases, that's probably not gonna happen, and you are better off letting a professional or an agent represent you when purchasing a property. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some value from it, and let me know in the comments down below. Do you think I missed some disadvantages? Do you think I missed some advantages? What would you do if you were in this situation? And I will see you in the next one.